Part 2. The Silence. What happens in the dark between death and rising? There is a day nobody talks about. Not Good Friday, not Easter Sunday. Holy Saturday. The day in between. The day when everything is finished and nothing has begun. The day when the stone is sealed and the miracle hasn't happened yet. The day of complete silence. You know this day. You've been living in it. Maybe for months, maybe for years. That place where you're not who you used to be, but you haven't yet become who you're going to be. That terrifying middle ground where your old identity has crumbled and your new one hasn't fully formed, where you feel suspended between two worlds, belonging to neither. That silence feels like failure, but it isn't. It is the most sacred part of the process, because Holy Saturday is not empty. Something is happening in the dark that cannot happen in the light. A transformation so deep, so complete, so total that it cannot be witnessed. It can only be trusted. The caterpillar doesn't transform in the light. It dissolves completely in the dark of the cocoon. It becomes liquid, formless. What was a caterpillar is no longer a caterpillar, and what will be a butterfly is not yet a butterfly. You are in that liquid state right now. You feel formless because you are formless. You feel lost because you have outgrown your old container and haven't grown into your new one. You feel like nothing is working because everything is working, just below the surface, in the sacred dark, where no human eye can witness it. This is why chosen ones suffer so deeply during transformation. They feel the dissolution and mistake it for destruction. They feel the formlessness and mistake it for failure. They sit in Holy Saturday, not knowing that Sunday is already written. Listen to me. Your silence is not abandonment. Your waiting is not wasted. Your darkness is not punishment. It is preparation. The deeper the burial, the more dramatic the resurrection. And yours is almost here. Part 3. The Signs. How to know your resurrection has already begun. You've been feeling it, haven't you? Something stirring, something shifting, something pressing up from below like the first green shoot pushing through frozen ground after a long winter. You can't name it exactly, but it's there. Here are the signs your resurrection has already begun. You've started feeling restless again, not the anxious restlessness of someone lost, the electric restlessness of someone who is almost ready, the kind that wakes you up at 3 a.m. with thoughts you can't ignore.
The walkout. How the chosen one steps into the new life. The tomb is open. But here is the part nobody tells you. You still have to walk out. Resurrection isn't passive. The stone was moved by grace, but the walk, the actual choosing to step from the darkness into the light, that belongs to you. That is your sacred act of will. That is where your power lives. And it is terrifying. Because walking out of the tomb means leaving behind everything you used to be. The identity built on surviving. The personality built on smallness. The habits, the relationships, the stories that only made sense in the dark. When you walk out alone. Transformed people always do, because what they are becoming cannot yet be recognized by those who loved what they were. But here is what resurrects with you. Your gifts come back, but sharper. Your sensitivity returns, but as armor, not weakness. Your vision comes back, but with the authority of someone who survived the burial. Your purpose returns, but no longer as a quiet whisper, as a roar. You walk out different, not healed of your wounds, strengthened by them, not without scars, branded with them as proof of what you survived, not untouched, transformed. The chosen one who walks out of the Easter tomb is not the same as the one who was placed inside it. They never are. That is the point of the entire process. You are not buried to be preserved. You were buried to be changed. So here is what I'm asking you to do this Easter. Choose one thing you buried, one dream, one gift, one truth about yourself, and take one step toward it. Not a perfect step, not a fully formed plan, just one crack of light through the stone, because that is all resurrection requires to begin. One crack, one breath, one choice to believe that what was buried in you was buried alive. Walk out now. The world has been waiting. This is your Easter, not the one on the calendar, yours, the personal, irreversible, undeniable resurrection of everything you thought you had lost. Listen to me one last time. You were not broken. You were buried. You were not abandoned. You were being prepared. You were not forgotten. You were being formed in the dark into something the world was not yet ready to receive. Until now. This is the season. This is the moment. This is the crack in the stone that lets the first light through. The version of you that is emerging has been shaped by every single thing you survived, every betrayal that taught you discernment, every failure that taught you resilience, every dark night that taught you that you could endure the unsurvivable and still rise. You are not who you were. You are so much more.
Your
The
tomb
chosen
is
one
empty now.
doesn't walk out of
Not
the
the
tomb
one made of
thinking
stone,
they're
the one you built inside yourself. The one where you placed your dreams when the world told you they were too big. The one where you buried your gifts when people couldn't understand them. The one where you hid your light because the darkness around you felt safer than the exposure of shining. You built that tomb carefully, brick by brick, year by year, disappointment by disappointment. And you thought it was permanent. You thought what was buried was gone. But here's what nobody told you. The most powerful resurrections don't happen in churches. They don't happen on calendars. They don't happen because a season changed or a year turned over. They happen when a chosen one finally stops running from what they truly are. You didn't stumble onto this video by accident. That's not how this works for people like you. You were guided here, pulled here, because something ancient inside you recognized that this was the moment. This Easter is different, not because of the date, not because of tradition, but because you are different. Something cracked open in you recently, something old is pushing through, something you buried, your real self, your true power, your destined path is pressing against the stone, and it wants out. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will change the way you see yourself forever. The resurrection they never preached about is yours. If this message found you at the right time, type "risen" in the comments right now and subscribe, because what's coming next on this channel was made specifically for you. Part 1. The Burial. How the Chosen One Gets Buried Alive. You weren't broken by one thing. You were buried slowly. It started early. Maybe someone laughed at your dream. Maybe someone told you to be realistic. Maybe you watched someone you love crush their own spirit to survive, and you learned quietly that this is what the world requires. So you began the burial yourself. You took the part of you that saw visions, and you called it fantasy. You took the part of you that felt everything deeply, and you called it weakness. You took the part of you that knew you were meant for something beyond ordinary life, and you called it arrogance. You buried it to protect it, so you told yourself. But the truth is more complex than that. The burial wasn't just self-protection, it was also self-punishment, because somewhere along the way you decided you were too much, too sensitive, too intense, too strange, too far outside what the world considered acceptable. You made yourself smaller, quieter,
more palatable. And every time you shrank, something inside you died a little. Not permanently, but deeply enough that you stopped hearing it. This is what nobody explains about chosen ones. The very thing that makes them chosen also makes them targets. Their sensitivity is their gift and their wound. Their vision makes them powerful and makes them isolated. Their depth terrifies ordinary people who are still living on the surface. So the world buries them, and then they finish the job themselves. But here is the divine irony of Easter. You cannot bury what was made to rise. You can pack the stone as tight as you want. You can post guards. You can seal the entrance with every fear you have. You can convince yourself it's over, it's done. That version of you is dead and gone.